you're critiquing my extremely poorly explained ideas, I think you'll find that's racist.
She complains of a litany of mental health issues that have arisen from the sudden and massive negative engagement with her in the wake of her debate with Vaush.
Oh my god, that's so disingenuous. Murder most
Professor
foul.
Flowers, this wasn't taking care not to spread false and invidious misrepresentations of someone who has hitherto been, as far as I can tell, someone she considered a friend.
Yes.
Heem's channel, in fact, has profited tremendously from his live ambush of Flowers, but I made the call.
Oh my god, these people are spineless. These people are so spineless, it's unreal. God, these people so hard, seriously. These people, okay? I do not want to be associated with them in any way, shape or form. You remember Professor Flowers, yeah? Well, I'm not going to watch the video for a number of reasons, okay? Let me change the stream title. Right. So, covering fresh drama, Professor Flowers slanders President Sunday. Who's up for some fresh content? Right, I don't want to make this all about Professor Flowers, but it's kind of inevitable, okay?
Hello, everyone.
Professor Flowers is basically this person who does these videos on YouTube. Famously, they spoke with Vaush, and that didn't go so well, and there were a lot of issues off the back of that. I'm not really looking to speak too much about Professor Flowers in this video, okay? Now, what I am looking to speak about, though, is something else. Who knows who President Sunday is? What started this all off is like... I watched some of this off stream, but Professor Flowers has pulled an absolute blinder, okay? Professor Flowers has pulled an absolute blinder. Thank you for the bits. By making this video boring. So I don't think anyone wants to watch it on stream because it's so fucking boring, okay? So fair play to Professor Flowers for pulling a blinder. I doubt there's many streamers that are going to be reacting to it, okay? Hey, thanks for the bits, Uncanny Valet. Now,
them bars.
President Sunday did watch it. Now, I just want to point out, okay, that President Sunday was absolutely brilliant, as far as I'm concerned, when talking about Professor Flowers, okay? So, President Sunday was very, and as far as I'm concerned, very kind, gave us space to talk about our issues, was critical of Vaush, defended Professor Flowers, and so on and so on and so on, okay? So, my belief, from what I understand, is that President Sunday feels somewhat blindsided by this, because as far as he was concerned, they were chill, they were in a good place, like they were friendly, no issues there, okay? No issues there. But then this video comes out, and apparently Professor Flowers has been talking some smack, has been talking some shit about the lad President Sunday. So, let's watch the video, let's see what's going on, let's dig into the drama a little bit, and see what's happening, okay?
A response I am
Here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is a response to a video recently uploaded by Professor Flowers entitled Going Forward that I watched on stream during the night of the 28th. A response I am severely disappointed that I have to make.
Ooh.
I'm not going to spend a long time recapitulating the issue here. I'll link a playlist in the description so you can get a general idea.
Sorry, ads have started. Fuck you, I hate you. Wait, what? Thanks for the support. And the insults, if that's what it takes, I'm game. Thank you very much.
Of the history, because it is 6 months since her initial disastrous debate with Vaush,
no worries,
and the issue is tired and stale. To put it very briskly, I continue to maintain that she was misinterpreted and indeed mistreated in her debate with Vaush, in her following discussion with that vulture Heem who promised a friendly discussion but ambushed her with critiques she was still not prepared to reply to. And I maintain that exiting that conversation when she realized she wasn't up to the task was the single moment in this whole debacle that she demonstrated responsibility. My own engagement in this issue culminated, or until now it had culminated, in my debating with Vaush directly, after Noah Sampson was batted about for the ill-informed argumentation in his own video critique of quote-unquote debate bros. It was an extraordinarily difficult debate.
Okay, listen, right? Listen, I can interpret President Sunday for you, okay? When President Sunday, okay, so a regular person, right? A regular person might say, "Oh, that guy's kind of a dick," right? That guy was kind of a dick in that conversation, all right? What President Sunday will say, and this gentleman committed a deed most foul, hitherto unseen in this space, a con artist and a coward. Heem, you have no honor. Okay? So that just means, in President Sunday, just means, oh, he's kind of a dick. He does these elaborate kind of, points about people, all right? So just bear that in mind when you're listening to him, okay?
Debate to have. Professor Flowers had not only performed poorly in her initial conversation with Vaush, being suspiciously hesitant to answer his clear questions concerning the ethics of anti-colonial ethnic displacement, but had published publicly viewable statements in the form of tweets and comments elsewhere that made it all too easy to buy into the worst possible interpretations of her motives and her sympathies. This meant that the position I had to defend in that debate had to be stripped of personal baggage. I was not there, could not be there, to protect Professor Flowers' honor. For one, it's not my job to do so, and to do so would risk throwing the people she failed to represent correctly under the bus.
Ooh.
My motive was to push back and hopefully correct Vaush. I categorically failed in this latter ambition, on his knee-jerk and uncharitable interpretation of the deeply complicated and historically conditioned positions of a large array of people he had never engaged with or spoken to. And so, in the course of that conversation, in which Vaush insisted at an earlier point that Flowers' naivety was due to her being an idiot, I recapitulated that point in order to show that just because she canvassed means of ethnic displacement that she thought might be done without committing genocide, doesn't mean that she positively endorsed the genocidal destruction that in fact would have to occur. The position she was arguing for was not inherently genocidal in attitude, even if the measures she was airing as hypothetical alternatives to genocide were in fact no such thing.
Yeah, so Sunday is correct. I agree. So basically, so it was very butchered, okay? It was very butchered, right? In terms of like so Professor Flowers didn't express this very well. But the point that was being made is that by its very nature, in order for a nation to be sovereign, they need to have the capability with which to do anything they so desire in order to be a sovereign nation, right? Now, when you actually look at it in a bit more of a critical light and look at global politics and look at international relations, it gets a bit more complicated because obviously we've got international laws against certain activities and certain actions, right? But fundamentally, in order for a nation to be sovereign, they would need to be able to declare war against another nation, right? They would need to be able to declare war against another nation. And that in itself is potentially a very bad action if it's not a justified war. Russia, for example, this is a great example of this. Russia's invaded Ukraine in what is widely condemned as like a incorrect invocation of their ability to do so, right? So, yeah. And yeah, the problem you've got isn't that it's not, because that just becomes about what is a sovereign nation. The actual issue then becomes, well, like Dari just said, should a nation be able to engage in a genocide against people? And I think we all know the answer is no, and that's why we have international laws, rules, regulations in place in order to try and stop that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a nuanced take. I think Professor Flowers did a really bad job of expressing it. But also I think Vaush was very hungry for the dunk when he spoke to them. So, it's one of those things, I guess.
I was between a rock and a hard place. Either she was an idiot in that case, or she was a genocide apologist. I chose the former as the lesser of two evils, on multiple grounds. And it's unfortunate that Flowers had made it the case that the case for her own competence stands in contradiction with the decency of the position and the people she had taken it upon herself to represent. But the fact of the matter is that she did, and backed into a corner with limited time, I had to make a choice. The latter won. Nonetheless, that was hurtful, and I felt bad about it immediately, even as I said it. Professor Flowers, for all her flaws, seemed like a decent person, and an intelligent person, frankly, and I hated both not pushing back on Vaush's characterization of her as an idiot, but also assenting to it, even if for the sake of defending a case I still maintain is more important than her ego. This is not a moral regret, but a personal one. I aired this regret to several people immediately following this debate, including Noah Sampson over DMs, and ultimately, also to her. When I started watching Professor Flower's recent video on stream on the night of the 28th, I was initially only annoyed when I saw, despite her claim that she was just expressing her feelings and providing an explanation for the lack of activity on her channel this past half year, that she was once again recapitulating the last 6 months, radically reframing it in parts in a manner sympathetic to her, while once again calling out Vaush by name, courting even further needless, senseless drama. There is a complicated and nuanced discussion that still needs to be had about how we treat black and other anti-colonial nationalisms and separatism.
So I just want to say as well, this is a classic case of someone who is, like with Professor Flowers, it's the kind of case where it's like making content about one's own like shit that's happening to them, which is fine. But it's just like they act... Is that my screen damaged? Oh no, it's a bit of dirt. Oop, need to clean my screen. You know, they kind of act like, oh my god, you wouldn't believe what's happening to me. You wouldn't believe what's going on. Let me tell you in an hour and 30-minute video. Just like, okay, fine, I guess. Like, I don't mind you speaking about your problems, but it's like what Dario was talking about earlier. The way people will, like, spectacleize their own, you know, hatred they're getting. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, some people were definitely way too unkind when it came to Professor Flowers, but other people, I think, had fair critiques, and it just became, oh wow, you're critiquing my extremely poorly explained ideas. I think you'll find that's racist. But yeah.
In the light of the still ongoing history of the systematic abuse and systemic abuse of these communities, but it should not be centered around the person of Professor Flowers, for 2 reasons. First, by her own words, she does not have the constitution for this. She complains of a litany of mental health issues that have arisen from the sudden and massive negative engagement with her in the wake of her debate with Vaush, and these should be taken very seriously. She should be left alone to recover so she can live her life.
Litany of mental
Second,
health issues. Fuck.
These issues are bigger than her, and for whatever reasons this is the case, it is simply a fact that she has made herself into a massive diversion from the really important questions that need to be addressed. Her ego and her need to be in the spotlight, despite her categorical inability to do justice to the people she has taken it upon herself to represent, often against their wishes, poisons the well against them to hundreds of thousands of engaged people who talk to each other. I generally like her as a person, which is why it pains me to say that her engagement has been a disaster for the discourse around these issues, since all one has to do to hand-wave away the very real arguments and complaints that she had to make against their treatment by Vaush is to point to her own conduct. In this most recent video, she even gives an account of critiques by people in communities for whose sake she claims to have been engaging in the aforementioned, in order to point out how unfair and harmful their critiques of her have been. And note that she does this publicly to an audience of strangers. This video is publicly viewable. It addresses a massive streamer, Vaush, by name. This was intended to draw attention. Anyone not from these communities, anyone hostile to these communities, could come away from this video with the impression that these communities have been simply and uniformly irrationally arrogant and cruel to the kind-hearted Professor Flowers, that they are in effect bad people, and all due to Flowers' own framing, and they have no voice in this discussion. If she was...
So, okay, there's one other sort of side point I want to make off of this as well, okay? Right? Can I be honest about something, okay? I genuinely don't have an issue with, like, discussions around anti-colonialism and stuff like that, right? I think it's perfectly chill to have a convo about that sort of thing, okay? But what I find a little bit fucking annoying is if you've got any criticism or any disagreements with anti-colonial ideas, like, you're somehow like some sort of turbo racist. And it's just like, What? Like, what do you mean? That's mental to me. Like, fucking hell. Like, you can be critical of anti-colonialist perspectives, you know? Yeah, it's just crazy to me. Hey!
Oh, and he said some bad words. He said the N-word.
Thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good stream. You know, I just think that there is absolutely critiques you can make, as long as it's like obviously there's going to be people that just look at it and immediately go, anti-colonialism. Anti-colonialism. What about pro-colonialism? And it's like, well, no, let's not go that far. You know, but Jesus Christ, like, I think we can have a discourse around it. And I think even within like anti-colonialist academia, there's disagreements between people within that as well. It's like any academic pursuit. There's disagreements, there's different perspectives, etc., etc., etc. You're being attacked because you might be a turbo racist, okay? But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's frustrating, shall we say? It's frustrating, and I think that there needs to be a way in which to express disagreement with these positions, even in quite a robust, critical light, without there being assumption that you're only doing so because you're racist and you agree that colonialism is based, you know? Because obviously, you know, it's one of those things where I think we can look back at colonialism and go, yeah, that was pretty cringe, all in all. I don't think that really was the best thing, all in all things considered. But yeah. Western lies.
Is really doing all of this for them, then why did she throw them under the bus to save her own feelings? That's a question that comes up here. For that matter, why is she making this video public and stoking the fire further? What is stopping her from simply addressing this video to specific parties from whom she's been given grief? Why is everyone else, why am I, for example, being made an audience to this? There are possible answers to these questions that are not damning. Maybe she simply made an error in judgment. Maybe she doesn't think she'll be heard or paid attention to if she doesn't make this video public. I don't think these answers justify this video and its, frankly, dishonest and manipulative framing of events, and of the often quite reasonable critiques that have been made of her decisions, conduct, and argumentation, but they do mitigate against critiques of her character on a moral level. What they do not mitigate against is deliberate libel against someone who has fought extremely hard, not just in defense of her character, but frankly, in cleaning up the mess she made about the issues she had a hand in misrepresenting to hundreds of thousands of people.
Listen, President Sunday absolutely went out of his way to protect Professor Flowers from, you know, and be very, very generous intellectually to her positions. So this does seem odd that she would like attack him, because out of everyone it seems like he was the only one at the time that was like, hey, let's not be so harsh towards this person. He seems like a moron. I can't even listen to the guy. Maybe it's just because you're not interested in this drama, I don't know, but I find it interesting. Listen, as long as you're not breaking TOS, you can be as harsh as you want. I don't. President Sunday's a big boy, okay? He can take the hits, I'm sure. But yeah, and bear in mind as well that President Sunday, I think, has got like somewhat of, well, not completely. He's got a lot of like philosophy nerds and stuff that watch his stuff because he's all into that, you know, nerd. Oh yeah, let's talk about this political thing here. Blah blah blah. I don't know, but like he's got some crossover with Vaush's audience, right? So the point is, the easiest thing for him to do would have just been to go fuck Professor Flowers, but he didn't. He was like, no, I'm going to approach this in a better way and try and deal with it that way.
At the 1 hour and 2 minute mark, Professor Flowers shows a section of the transcript from my debate with Vaush, which reads, quote,
"She's an idiot. She thinks you can do this without that. She is wrong. That doesn't mean she endorses the thing that would happen. She's mistaken about what's in her power to do. That's my point. My point is that she's not intelligent enough to realize that her priors lead to genocide."
Unquote. Here is the original clip from which this transcript is taken.
God.
Pay attention to who says what.
I just don't understand how you could ever morally permit any plan of action which involves the deportation of a people based on their ethnic group, you know? I don't know if that necessarily addresses any of
That ethnic group colonized a group of people.
Oh, sure. But
That's how. That's and if we disagree on that line, that's fine.
No,
but I think
We disagree on that line.
Slow down. Hang on. Let that play for a little bit longer.
Sure.
I'm just
people have
curious.
to have the right to self-determination. What to do about the people who colonize them?
I agree that the ethnic group did indeed participate in the colonization, but I don't believe in taking blanket retribution against people for their bloodline because they're associated with the
It's
bloodline.
not about.
Well, it
agree with that
is.
either.
It is.
It's about being away from the people who oppressed you.
I don't
it's
agree
about
with that
taking your
either.
power back.
Yeah, because she didn't like the word bloodline, and then
No,
she said
it's
being
because Vaush, you hit it on the head a second ago. She's an idiot. She thinks you can do this without that. She is wrong. That doesn't mean she endorses the thing that would happen. She's mistaken about what's in their power to do.
That's my point. My point is that she's not intelligent enough to realize that her priors lead to genocide.
Oh my God.
Observe what has taken place. Flowers has arranged what was an exchange in which I defended her against an accusation of genocide apologia on the admittedly rude grounds that she was an idiot in this matter, followed by a retort from Vaush commenting upon her intelligence into a single statement.
Oh my God, that's so disingenuous. She's acting like he said all this, but he didn't. Vaush said some of it too. And it seems like President Sunday only called her an idiot because he was trying to, like, build a bridge. He was trying to build a bridge to Vaush to say, yeah, look, she's a bit stupid, but, like, you know. I don't know. I defended her by calling her an idiot. Yeah, that's the ultimate power play, if you ask me. That's the ultimate power play. I'm going to defend someone by saying they're a complete fucking moron. But no, obviously this is spicy. But the context is not correct here in terms of, like, well, it's just completely misquoted. You're welcome.
So that I can be framed as a callous elitist, making an infantilizing commentary on her intelligence as a black woman. I can only presume, because I can't think of any other reason for her doing so, out of spite for my slight against her ego. When I watched this, it took me a few minutes to register what Flowers had done. In fact, to register that this section of her video was even referring to me. It seemed so alien from anything I would actually say. I've linked my raw response in the description so you can see for yourself, because I don't say things like, she's not intelligent enough to realize that her priors lead to genocide. I'm not a saint. I've said stupid, mean shit in the past, but I don't say things like that. So I went back to the debate with Vaush to review this section, and I was appalled. But I collected myself, and I resolved to maintain charity. Despite her flaws, Professor Flowers is a decent person. Professor Flowers knows how harmful it can be to deliberately misrepresent friends in a way that damages their reputations in public. Professor Flowers probably didn't even review the debate herself. She must have simply found a section in the transcript which doesn't specify the speaker, and copy-pasted the section thinking they were simply both from me. She said in the past that she doesn't like reviewing that debate or debates about her because they're stressful, so that's plausible. Especially if she was sufficiently hurt by the first comment I made to assume that I would stoop to make the latter. Sure. She even claimed as much when she caught wind of this from someone in my audience and made a correction in the description of her video. Okay, I can believe that. I can understand that. She was just being sloppy. She made a simple human mistake in a moment of hurt that anyone could have made. And then my blood ran cold. Because I realized that this couldn't be the explanation. Professor Flowers made no mistake. She wasn't being sloppy at all. In point of fact, she had been quite deliberate. Because, well, yes, the transcript of my debate with...
Come on, listen, how can you not fucking enjoy this? How can you not enjoy it with that sort of language? That's fucking banging. That's fucking banging. It's like reading Sherlock Holmes. It's like reading fucking Sherlock Holmes. It's great.
Vaush does confusingly fail to note who says what, and this could absolutely give rise to the kind of error Professor Flowers imputed her conflation of our language to. But the original transcript has an additional deficiency. It contains entirely no punctuation. There are no periods and no commas at all. None. Which means that the combining of my statement with Vaush's affected by the placement of a comma before the first occurrence of his saying, quote-unquote, "that's my point," was not, could not, be a mistake, but must almost of necessity have been a deliberate editorial decision. She chose to conflate our speech on purpose with the aim of hurting me.
Murder most
Professor
foul.
Flowers had deliberately attempted to conflate Vaush's language with mine in order to harm my reputation. In order to be able to make an accusation just a little bit more damning than President Sunday offended my ego to stick. In order to cast me as an elitist and even as a racist, she claimed that I not only called her an idiot, I elaborated upon it.
Regardless, I want to point out how degrading it is to have this many white people argue about how dumb they think I am. While I understand the way that Western society
Wait, let's go
perceives
back a bit.
intelligence.
Listen to this.
Occurrence of his saying, quote-unquote, "that's my point," was not, could not, be a mistake, but must almost of necessity have been a deliberate editorial decision. She chose to conflate our speech on purpose with the aim of hurting me. Professor Flowers had deliberately attempted to conflate Vaush's language with mine in order to harm my reputation. In order to be able to make an accusation just a little bit more damning than President Sunday offended my ego to stick. In order to cast me as an elitist and even as a racist, she claimed that I not only called her an idiot, I elaborated upon it.
Regardless, I want to
Okay,
point out how
that was
degrading it
banging.
is to have this many white people argue about how dumb they think I am. While I understand the way that Western society perceives intelligence is often classist, ableist, and racist, it's still hard not to feel less than human when people talk about me in this way.
Like, I couldn't imagine saying that about a friend, you know? Because here's the thing. When you're debating Ian, he says a lot of messed up stuff, and you're like, I don't even know which messed up thing to
Gads,
respond
my
to. You
dear
just said
fellow.
like 5 messed up things, so I'll just respond to one.
Isn't it? Okay, I feel
And
bad.
this wasn't
like-
even
Okay, let's just do a bit more of a neutral face. It looks like I'm trying to do a sorry face. Why do people always call Vaush Ian? What's that about? It's weird. I know his name's Ian. Yes, obviously. I know his name is Ian. Okay. But I feel like people just do it because it's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like they're trying to get under his skin. It's like they're like, I know your real name, CIA shill. People call Destiny Steven. Yeah, but it's different with Destiny. It just feels a bit more like personable. You know? Like Lycan calls him Steven, which is quite endearing. Yeah, is it supposed to be some sort of weird power move? Like, I know your name. You might think you're safe in Langley, but I know your real name.
just like him ignoring Ian calling me an idiot, which happened multiple times. He was agreeing with Ian and saying I'm an idiot, and then he elaborated on it. It was just like fucking disgusting, really.
She makes other implications that speak for themselves, which I will not address. I will follow her practice instead and upload an unlisted version of the original video as a record. Now, she did in fact re-upload the video today with the text corrected, but I noticed the length was still identical, so I checked. And all she did was eliminate the extra line of text from the visuals. The subtitles of the video even still contain the false conflation of my words with Vaush's, and she still goes on to insist that I elaborated upon her intelligence. This wasn't taking care not to spread false and invidious misrepresentations of someone who has hitherto been, as far as I can tell, someone she considered a friend. This was covering her tracks. It was genuinely disheartening to see. Now, I have exercised a profound, some have said a ridiculous degree of charity towards Professor Flowers. I've in no small way even staked my reputation and my YouTube career on it. Not because I'm too stupid to have noted the above as it was happening, but because despite that, I believed that what Professor Flowers was arguing for, even if she did so in a very flawed way, was true, was correct. And because I believed that she was being treated unfairly and indeed taken advantage of by people who either didn't care about the principles and the people she had taken it upon herself to represent, or who secretly despised them and wanted to see them fail. At a time when I was...
Oh, Heem the Vulture. Oof. Heem, you got called out. You got called out, my friend. President Sunday feels you're a vulture.
Directly benefiting from
I'm looking at your
friendship
thread
of
in a
Vaush
sec.
was being directly endorsed by him on his stream when my subscriber base was jumping by 1,000 people almost overnight, a very big number for me that meant a big deal materially, because I had taken it upon myself, because I actually could, to dispel a grossly cynical hit piece against him. I turned on him to defend a much smaller streamer because I perceived that she was being treated unfairly, and that both her and what she was trying to stand for were both being grossly misrepresented. From a career perspective, it was the stupidest move I could have possibly made.
Yes.
Heem's channel, in fact, has profited tremendously from his live ambush of Flowers, but I made the...
Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my good god. Oof.
contrary move, because despite the disadvantages, I believed it was the right thing to do.
Heem
In
just
light of
chasing
the
clout.
aforementioned, I find myself in a position I never thought I would be in, I certainly never wanted to be in. I find myself in a position where I have every right and justification to condemn Professor Flowers as a spiteful and selfish actor willing to lie to her audience and misrepresent her so-called friends, even former friends, in such a vicious way that I couldn't frankly even imagine doing so to my worst enemies. The characterization she gives of me, of what I said, of my psychology and my motives, is one that you can't walk back from if it sticks. It is utterly damning. And so I'm faced with a difficult question. Do I believe that about Professor Flowers? Do I believe that she is essentially a liar? Do I believe that she is essentially spiteful and cruel? Do I give up and concede to everyone I have been fighting with for half a year that yes, Professor Flowers is indeed, after all, a malicious and bad faith actor? I actually don't know how to answer this. So I'll address Professor Flowers directly. Lua, I defended you because I believed, despite all of your flaws and mistakes, that at heart you were motivated by a desire to do right by the people you were trying to represent, that people like Vaush had treated unfairly. I believed that at heart you were an educator who was devoting her time and energy to trying to help people be better. I also don't believe, for 1 second, that your gross misrepresentation of my words, of my character, was an accident. That the underhanded way you weaponized your trauma to take petty revenge against communities whose welfare you claim to be working in service of by portraying them before the world at large in a light that makes them appear like vicious abusers without any valid complaint against you, the selfless heroic martyr, was an accident. I don't believe that you didn't do these things
President
on purpose.
Sunday is a white leftist picture.
I thought you, in a sea of vicious self-serving actors, were at heart a good person. I thought you actually cared about the communities and causes you were representing more than you cared about yourself, and that is why I was prepared to risk my reputation in defense of you and in defense of what I thought we both mutually cared about. But I cannot reconcile that with what I saw you do, clear as day, in the video you just published. So Lua, I place the ball in your court.
Ooh.
I don't want to waste my time on Earth with this meaningless, self-serving drama. I don't think you do either. I think even at your most cynical that you want to do something that matters. So admit what you did. I can understand that feeling of being backed into a corner, feeling as though you've been treated in an underhanded way yourself, and so why on earth wouldn't you reply in kind? It's only fair after all. But
Someone
acknowledge what you
call
did.
an ambulance.
In private, if you need to. I'll keep it confidential. We don't need to make a display of this. But acknowledge it all the same. Acknowledge that you fabricated a quote to take revenge upon someone who you felt had slighted you. Lay on every condemnation against my character you feel is appropriate in addition. But acknowledge, admit that you did that. And you should absolutely do the same for the people in your community you threw to the wolves in your video. Again, privately. Address them personally, by name. That's the only way we go forward without becoming a mockery of ourselves. Admit what you did, and show that you are someone who matters. Show that you're not just in it for yourself, that you're actually accountable to your community, that you hold yourself accountable, and that you put them first. Someone with the integrity to admit wrongdoing unforced is someone worth paying attention to, and it will be noted by them that you didn't have to have an ulterior reason to do the right thing. If that's who you really are, then it doesn't matter to me if we're friends or not, we're on the same side. Or, you can be the person who misrepresents people to protect your ego, to come out on top in a meaningless internet dispute, and throw away any chance at achieving something significant. You can, in effect, be exactly what Vaush was to you. I don't think that's you. I think this was an aberration.
Oh my god.
I think you've been roundly abused by hordes of people who have no conception of what it's like to be dogpiled by thousands upon thousands of strangers who are willing to uncritically swallow and spit back at you the notion that you are the worst sort of person on earth. This has happened to a lot of people. A lot of them who should know better have jumped in like vultures for the easy content that is the public destruction of your person. What Vaush does, what all of these people do, ultimately widens the chasms in the left and allows the worst actors to prevail over all of us. You say as much in your video. We're on the left because we care about people.
Cope and seethe.
So let's show them that actually doing that without it being a mere cynical pretense doesn't make us weaker. Let's show them that we can viably be better. You still have the chance to show that far from being the worst sort of person, I was right, and you actually have the capacity to be one of the best. Even despite the aforementioned. Maybe because despite the aforementioned.
Also, tankies are losing.
Thank you.
Admit what you did. Show us who you actually are.
Welcome to Chud Nation.
I think it's actually in
An
your
anonymous
character to do
user
this.
gifted a tier 1 sub to
I hope it
Vulture.
is. Before I sign off, I address my audience. I have no say in what you do, but I would be sorely disappointed
Welcome
if this
to
address
Chud
or any
Nation.
of its contents was
A
used to
little
cause
bit
distress
gifted
to
a tier
someone
1
who has
sub
already
to
faced an
Heem.
extraordinary degree of personal cruelty in this space. Even the best people make mistakes. We shouldn't waste them to the advantage of the worst. Professor
love President
Flowers
Sunday
needs to
so
do
much.
better than what we've seen, but first, she has to be able to see that she's allowed to.
Oh.
That the best course isn't always the losing one. So to put it bluntly, leave her alone. This video will not stay uploaded for very long. I will likely take it down in the next couple of weeks pending the response. As always, thanks for listening, and take care.
Oh my god, that was so good. Fuck. Seriously though, can we be honest? He did get done dirty. He did get done fucking dirty. Can we be honest? Like, I know you're fucking going on about all
You
the
don't know the best
shit you said
people,
is up.
so how
Come
do you
on.
know if they make mistakes?
He got done dirty. Can we call it what it is? Can we call a spade a spade? Is that racist?
Don't care and he's white.
Thank you very much for the bits. Thanks, Psycho. And thanks, a little bits for the sub. Thanks, Anon, for the sub. What about you getting done dirty? Sorry, Heem. I've got to back up my my fellow white person. I don't know if you've seen my recent tweets, but I've decided to become Islamophobic, Arabphobic, all that stuff, right? That's what people are calling me. You know, fucking, Middle Eastern phobic, all that area, if you come from anywhere in that sort of area, any area that's been fucking fucked with by America in the past 30, 40 years, I came out against in a cab, and people are telling me that I'm a racist now. No, I was going to look at your thread now, actually. Right. What's this? Let's see what Heem, a.k.a. the Vulture, let's see what his situation with this is. Oh, goodness me. I hate to even have to comment on this 6-month-old arc, but I saw Professor Flowers discussed our interaction in a new video. She falsely claimed that 1. I tricked her into coming on my show, and 2, that I called her an idiot when she asked me to take down the convo. Let's get this out there. Nowhere did I say it would be for an interview or anything like that, and I even invited her to go check out my previous chat with Mel. I felt I was very upfront and stand by everything I said. Hey there, I'm a Twitch streamer, heard your chat with Vaush. I think you come from a great place, and some of what you were trying to say might have not come across in your chat with Vaush. I know it can be overwhelming with there's thousands of viewers in chat shitting on you. After chaos is Mel. Wow. Damn. So first he goes after someone of Korean descent. Now this. Heem, I'm going to be honest, man. You know, I think there's some racism going on here. Chat with Vaush. I had a chat with Mel the following week, and it was unanimously agreed it went better than the Vaush chat. I want to extend the offer for you to come and have a chat with me about similar topics you chatted with Vaush, but I'm much kinder and more understanding, I think. I prefer discussions to debates. I'm genuinely curious to understand my guests. He's very curious, is Heem. There's one thing that Heem is, he's a very curious fellow. Anyways, I know you're probably dealing with a lot now, but if you're interested in what I mentioned, let me know. Have a great day. Anyway, listen. I messaged Professor Flowers. Do you know that? I messaged Professor Flowers. I tend not to get in contact with the certain kind of like, certain type of lefty, because generally they're like super, like, crazy bullshit kind of takes. But I thought, you know what, this person's getting a lot of shit, and I could kind of understand that, hey, it's a bit excessive. So I said, hey, look, you're getting a lot of shit right now. There's people with, like, from the debate community and stuff, I know they're giving you some shit, but I think you're getting treated a bit harshly. You know, hopefully things get better for you. That was it, more or less, right? And I think she replied with something fairly kind. Anyway, she blocked me recently, a couple of months ago. I think during one of my racism arcs, she ended up blocking me. So yeah, it is what it is. For some reason, honestly, okay, the woke scoldy types, okay, the woke scoldy types, I promise you, right, I have been caught out a few times with being kind to people. I mean, Professor Flowers, it's not like she did anything that egregious to me, okay, but like, I just don't give any. I'm very guarded with these kinds of people now. The kind of super woke, like, you know, woke scoldy, turbo, leftoid people. I'm a bit like, just not worth it. A lot of them just stab you in the back at the first sign of trouble. What? Apparently... Okay. So, there was this panel that President Sunday did about the Squid Game panel. And apparently, because I was on there, she didn't turn up. Fucking hell, these people are unreal. Too hot to be associated with. Oh my god.
Nobody knows who Professor Flowers is
No
outside
way.
of our bubble. We all need to touch grass. And then pack that grass into a bowl and inhale a fat trip of that terminally online lush. Number 420.
Thanks for the bits, Dr. Butler. So apparently, she expressed concerns about my grooming allegations. She was showed defense of me. She agreed with someone over voice chat that she believed I was innocent, but optically it was too bad to be in any way associated with me. And I'm told that I was likely blocked as an optics measure. These people are fucking spineless. These people are so fucking spineless, it's unreal. So terrified they are of, like, they'll claim that cancel culture isn't a thing, right? And there's no such thing as these woke mobs or whatever. But then they'll do shit like that because they know that there is, and they're going to get fucked by it if they don't go along with what the right thing to do from that perspective is. God, fuck these people so hard. Seriously. Fuck these people, okay? I do not want to be associated with them in any way, shape, or form, alright? You don't talk about me. I won't talk about you. Okay, and you can fuck off. When she asked me to take the video down, I was seriously considering it. As anyone with Discord can tell you, I just wanted one night to sleep on it because I'd seen out of context clips of me being shared around already. This way she claimed I called her an idiot, did I? Hey, can you take down the video of our convo? I didn't realise that arguing would be a part of our talk, and I don't feel comfortable representing anti-colonialist beliefs in the form of argumentation, and find it to be a misrepresentation that I don't want to participate in. Yeah, that's because these people just want the anti-colonialist beliefs to be accepted wholesale without any query. It sounds like I'm being dramatic. Honestly, that is what they want. They don't want it to be questioned. They don't want it to be fucking scrutinized. They want you to accept it. And if you don't, they'll call you a fucking racist. Do you think I'm joking? I'm not joking, okay? That's exactly how these fuckers operate. I'm telling you, that is what it is, okay? Oh, hey, Choking Doberman. I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you. Someone tell me I'm wrong. Someone tell me I'm wrong. That's how it is. It's just how it is. I've seen it time and time again. I appreciate your request to take down the video. Give me a day to give me the day to consider it. Pretty reasonable. Not all people advocating decolonialism. There's some, like, I think if you go to like actual academia and stuff, and people that, like, there's probably some people you could have a debate with and it'd be reasonable and that you'd be chill, but there's definitely some people, you know, where it's a bit. 9:41 p.m, 5:01 a.m. What the fuck? Why are you sending that at 5? Oh, you get up early, don't you, to stream? No, Professor Flowers isn't a black separatist. When I go to sleep, I wake up to having leaked the DMs and tweeting this, calling me a prick. Jesus. What the fuck? This level of unprofessionalism was so unexpected to me as someone who spent almost 10 years in academia. Remember, all I asked for was one night to sleep on it. Oh my god, she says it right here, look. Land back should be listened to, not argued. What? Imagine that. Imagine if you just going, right, I've got an idea. You're not allowed to argue with it. You've just got to listen. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Miss me with that shit straight away. What the fuck? You've just got to listen to what I've got to say. Holy fuck. That's madness, isn't it? Had I known we were going to argue, I simply wouldn't have come on. That's why I'm asking you to take the video down. Besides insinuating I'm white, she keeps claiming I brought her on to talk about land back. Meanwhile, she was the first person to bring up land back for discussion. All I wanted to know is how immigration plays into the colonizer-colonized dichotomy. Yeah, this is interesting. It feels that, yeah. If I remember correctly in that conversation, I think it was that you were just trying to understand how your place as an immigrant fits into all of this. As having like a migrant background or whatever.
Welcome.
And she found it difficult to answer, no? Is that what it was? Link me the Heem Professor Flowers video. I don't have any ill will towards Professor Flowers because I'm not 14 years old. I understand we had some miscommunication issues and a disagreement about our worldviews. I'm okay with that and wish them all the best. Alright. All right.
Yeah, so I'm an immigrant, right? When I hear like that indigenous people should have self-determination of their land, this used to be their land, I feel as though I'm not welcomed here. Why can't we just help to address the current systemic issues without saying that, like, oh no, this is our land, kind of?
Well, it's not your land.
Why though?
So it's
Why?
like,
But like, why can't it? Why
because
can't...
it's never stopped being stolen, and I think it's just kind of as simple as that.
I just don't think the dichotomy of colonizer and colonized applies to today's analysis of the world. And I remember back when I was growing up that darker skinned black people
Jesus.
would kind of shit talk lighter skinned black people. Do you see how, like, once you like start thinking about the intricacies and the possible
Once I start thinking about the
not
intricacies.
you. I mean, like, once
like I've never thought
no,
about,
sorry,
like, okay.
I didn't mean you.
I'm sorry.
No?
I don't want to have this conversation though. I'm sorry that it's like abrupt, and
okay.
I just feel like really frustrated, and like
Totally.
I'm just not interested in arguing.
Okay.
What was this intro?
Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that seems to be. It seems to me like that is quite an interesting dilemma to solve. Like, that's a fairly reasonable question, though. We've got all these immigrants now. You know, I didn't ask for them, but they're here now. What can you do? Right? Like, what do we do about those people? Do you know what I mean? Do they get repatriated or whatever? I don't know. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not about repatriating them, but it's about understanding, like, why is it that is not something that can be contended with in this framework?